feel that leadership on this has to come from below.
You know, I think really, no, I think people can do this without government assistance, which is kind of interesting.
Transition Winnipeg is a grassroots movement, a genuine grassroots movement of people prepared to do things for themselves that are important for the future.
Transition Winnipeg is an organization which is promoting networking and neighborhood level action on the key challenges that seem to be facing humanity right now. Those include peak oil, or a depleting supply of fossil fuels, which means that the energy that drives our civilization is going to be running progressively shorter and more expensive as time goes forward. Climate change, a lot of people have heard already about that it will affect our food supply, travel, building design, everything. Volatility in global financial markets. A lot of us are facing financial hardship and will continue to face more of it going forward as the global financial system becomes unraveled. And we also see a certain gridlock in government, and this is largely because of its existing sovereign debt obligations. There are very few degrees of freedom that our political leaders have right now in addressing these key challenges. So we feel that to engage them creatively, we want to do this at the neighborhood level and say, how can we build our neighborhoods going forward, transform our neighborhoods going forward toward a way of life which is less carbon intensive, more resilient before climate change, more economically self-reliant, and more self-governing.
And so would it be fair to say that what you're doing is you're setting an example for government and showing leadership rather than expecting the government to do these things?
Absolutely right. We feel that leadership on this has to come from below. For whatever reason, there appears to have been little leadership at any level of government in meeting these challenges realistically. So in our group we don't debate whether we've reached peak oil or not. We know if we haven't already, we will soon. And the same for climate change. That climate change is going to be impacting us more and more going forward. So we've simply said, instead of denying it or arguing about it or ignoring it, we're going to face it honestly and say, given these realities, how can we build a positive future for the citizens of Winnipeg? One neighborhood at a time. And within neighborhoods there can be huge diversity, right, in how people approach those projects based on the local folk, the opportunities, the resources, the limitations that exist in each area of Winnipeg. So they don't all have to look the same. And we don't have a grand plan for the city. We have a shared concern, a shared vision, and out of that fall all of these individual neighborhood and regional projects, which will use the creativity and resources of the people right there to address the concerns, to achieve the vision.
So tell me about your interest in Transition Winnipeg.
Well, I really like what's going on in my own neighborhood. There's been a lot of stuff going on there for a long time now, and it's sort of coalescing into some really interesting projects that I think really help us be more self-reliant as a community and bring people together, build capacity, that kind of stuff. I spent my working time looking at a lot of really serious environmental problems. It's obvious that we're going to have to make changes. So Transition Winnipeg, for me, the transition movement is a way of approaching all this stuff from a really positive place. Even though it's predicated on some pretty negative and scary stuff, it really moves quickly towards, okay, what are the solutions and what are the positives? And I think in that way, it's more likely to embrace people and get people involved because they won't be as fearful. So I think it's a very positive proposition.
Mm-hmm. So are any of your neighbors here?
Yes. I live in South Osborne, and there's lots of folks from South Osborne, including people from my street and people that I do things with in South Osborne. It's very nice to have that.
And do you see this as an initiative that is going to require any kind of government assistance, or?
No. You know, I think really, no, I think people can do this without government assistance, which is kind of interesting. I think the problem, and verging into that sort of negative side of things, governments are contributing to a lot of the overall systemic problematic issues right now, and I think we still have to be cognizant of those issues. We still have to try to have strong environmental laws, for example, strong laws to protect people's basic human rights and things like that. So the more the government erodes those things, the harder our work is going to be.
The Social Planning Council has been involved with Transition Winnipeg since its beginning, and we helped with some of the discussions leading up to the formation of the group and the launch today. And it's really important for Winnipeggers to know about this movement and what it is trying to accomplish and what it really means. Obviously, it's a group of people concerned about the use of fossil fuels and the impact of wasteful energy practice on our environment and therefore on ourselves. And that's really the essence of this. But on the other hand, it's also important to recognize that Transition Winnipeg is a grassroots movement, a genuine grassroots movement of people prepared to do things for themselves that are important for the future. Yes, we have to get government support, we have to get community support, but one of the things I like about the Transition Winnipeg movement is this is a group of people that are taking on what they can do now to change the way we use energy, the way we interrelate with each other, and therefore how we affect the environment and social structure of our society. So I think it's really important for everyone to get involved where they can, but track Transition Winnipeg and support it wherever possible.